Good morning, students. Over
Good morning, sir.
morning. 2 minutes wait చేస్తాను. I will start.
Okay, sir.
So I will start the class. So according to the internal DTDs, we are discussing about XML DTD. DTD is nothing but the structure. It defines the structure of XML document. So this is how XML document will look like if it is designed using internal DTD. So internal DTD will contain something like this. This is the rule which is to be followed. Coming to this one, it is compulsory to write document type in capital letters and elements in capital letters, and here hash PC data. So I told you I will discuss about PC data over here in this class. So PC data is nothing but parsed character data, parsed character data. So what do you mean by parsed character? Parsed character is nothing but it can accept any type of a data. Okay, let us say that if I put here, let us say that the name instead of name is some Suresh. Let us say that Suresh is a name. I assigned a name to it. Instead of Suresh, I can also give 20 numerics also. We are not restricting here. PC data is not at all restricting the type of data which is there. So name అంటే నేమే కాకుండా డెసిమల్స్ కూడా ఇచ్చే ఛాన్సెస్ కూడా ఉన్నాయి పీసీ డేటాలో. సో ఇట్ ఈస్ నాట్ రెస్ట్రిక్టింగ్. పీసీ డేటా ఈజ్ యాక్సెప్టింగ్ any type of a data. Okay, any type of a data that can be used in this. Okay, now this is internal DTD in which we have name, age, and we are demonstrating this one, that is name and age here. So coming to the detailed things about detailed explanation of how it can be written, what is DTD is all about. So, so first one, document type. So it defines that it is a DTD. So document type is nothing but we are discussing about structure of the XML. The document will define this keyword. It is a keyword which refers to the DTD element, and it should be in uppercase letters compulsory. These are denoted in uppercase letters, that is capital letters. So next, the type of DTD will define, we have something like this. Let me show you this one, some syntax, that is document type, player. We are discussing about player DTD. The structure of player is going to be decided. So coming to the system keyword. So system is a keyword which is used to define the structure of a private. Okay, privately you can access. We have different types of access specifiers in terms of different programming languages. Similarly, we have here the way we can access this player DTD, or the structure of the player is accessed privately by using a keyword called as system, which is denoted in capital letters. Okay. So what will be the value of this? The value will be something like player.dtd. So we are defining this one as private. Okay. This is how the syntax will be followed by document type. Now coming to the important elements. So how we are going to decide elements. So first you start with element. So declaring an element, you have to use this tag, which is written in the capital letters, followed by a name, followed by hash PC data. Hash PC data. So what do you mean by this? To declare elements, we have to use this tag. Okay, we need to use this tag. So the name of the element is name, and the value should be given through this PC data. So the PC data will accept any type of a value, either it will be a numeric or character data. Meaning of this PC data is, as I told you, parse the character data. Parse the character data. So next thing is there are two types of elements declaration. Let us say that element declaration will be done like this. While we are defining the DTDs. So and name will be there. So in the previous section, I wrote something like this: PC data. So the other possibilities is any. Okay. If you are not writing PC data, you can write any. Okay. If it is not any, PC data will be there. So what is the difference between PC data and any? So PC data will not allow childs childs in elements. First point. The second point, it is not restricting elements. Restricting elements in terms of data. So according to the first point, it will not allow child elements in the data. So what is this example? Let us say that let us let me show you one XML file. Let us say the player is there. So player will have name, fire, the first name, last name, and next we have age. Before age, we should close name. Okay? Age will be there. Okay. What is this? These are the child elements of this name tag. Okay. Name element will contain child elements. So these are not possible in PC data. Well, we are using PC data as element. So it will not allow child elements to be inserted into this element. So that is what the drawback of PC data. While we are using PC data, it is a drawback of PC data. So what we have to do? We have to use any. Okay, we have to use any instead of PC data. If I use any, the declaration something like this. Instead of element name any. Okay, element name any. Then what happens? So name can have child elements also. Just now I told you name will contain first name and last name. First and last name as child elements. So it is possible if I use any, it is not possible with the PC data. So PC data has some problem regarding that. Now coming to the so let us say that we have some kind of quantifier in DTD design in the structure of DTD. What is the quantifier? So quantifiers are special symbols which are used to denote the elements or define the elements. So coming to this, how it can be. Let us say that, let me show you one example. element. Layer of name, comma age, comma category plus. So category plus the symbol is called as a quantifier here. So this quantifier defines that the category element will be repeated one more time. Okay. So if I take regarding a player, so let us say that if I want to name Dhoni, let us say that age we have 36, let us say that let us assume category is a wicket keeper as we know. Okay. Apart from wicket keeping, he can also bat, yes or no. So he belongs to the other category also. He is a batsman category. So this plus is defining this category element into two more. That it will repeat more than one time. So these are some of the quantifiers which are used here. Okay. Coming to the important one. The second way of structuring the XML document is XML schema. Schemas. So what does it show you? Before we discuss about XML schema, let us show you some of the drawbacks of DTDs. So some of the drawbacks are nothing but syntax of DT is completely new one. Yes or no? Completely new. So it is not similar to XML. Okay, it is not similar to XML. XML code is different and DTD code is different. Just now we have seen something like document type, element. So this kind of thing is not seen in XML. XML will contain a simple text standard document. So the coding which is used in DTD is different from the XML. So it is hard to design DTDs. So hard, it does not mean that it is too much hard. It means that we need to learn the DTDs rules also. Okay, along with XML, we need to know the rules of DTDs also. What are the elements, how it can be defined. So it will take time in designing the structure of the document of XML. So DTDs will have some. This is one of the drawbacks. A completely new syntax will be used here. So the second drawback is nothing but it is not restricting the data. Just now we told you that is, let us say that we have a element called runs. We have runs. So you observe here, it is not using a decimal. Runs means the type of the data will be supplied as decimal number only. But here we are using no run. So characters are also used here. So it means It is not restricting runs to decimal, but rather than it is using characters also. Okay, runs means decimal number will be there. So it is not restricting these elements. So DTD will not restrict the elements to be decimal. Okay, restriction is not there on the elements. So that is the second type of drawback which we can see in DTDs. Now, coming to the third one, the third drawback is whenever we are using quantifier like this, so the DTD is not specifying, okay, not specifying how many times a element can be repeated. In the previous example, I told you that category plus. It means how many times it can be repeated. It is not specifying here. So that will be the drawback of DTD also. So, and the last drawback is there is no reusability of elements. So there is no reusability of elements. So whenever we want to reuse some of the elements, it will not happen. So we cannot reuse in DTDs. Okay. So all these drawbacks will be solved with the help of XML schemas. Okay. So XML schema is the only solution. So whatever drawbacks are possible in DTDs, okay, drawbacks of DTDs are solved using XML schemas. So XML schema will be having some signature like this. Let me show you here. Schema of XML uses the syntax that is something like this: XS colon X sorry XS colon, so it will the secure schema XS colon schema. So XMLNS equals to some value will be there. Okay. After that, actual definitions will be inside it. Then XS colon schema will be there. This is the closing tag. So this is how XML schemas will be declared. Okay. There are other attributes are also possible inside it. Okay. The attributes which are used inside it, the attributes which are used inside XML schemas are version, language, okay, XML language which is used here, and version which is used here. So let us show me one example here. Let me show you. So in the previous example, just now I told you runs, how it will be solved. So XML ns colon xsi equals to some values. So I will discuss this. Don't worry about XSI. XSI, no namespace. Okay. Namespace schema location equals to schema.dtd. Sorry, not DTD. So how XML schemas will be stored? In the previous example, DTDs will be stored as a DTD.DTD, but here XSD as the extension which is used here. So here 100. So define an element or unique element, that is, we are restricting runs to the decimal number itself. We are not accepting any kind of other characters inside it. Okay. Or else the above. So it can be written in different way also. The following syntax can be written in different way. That is access element equals to runs type equals to access decimal. So we are restricting this runs element to decimal. Okay. So there are some data types which are available in XML schema. The data types which are used here is Boolean, data types in XML schema. Data type is Boolean, date is there, decimal is there, double, next comes float, next string. So the values, these values will be supplied here, something like this, decimal or date or boolean or double or float. So with this data types, we are restricting the elements to be accessing those values only. Okay. So this is about XML schema. So in the next class, we are going to discuss some more elements. This is all for today. Thank you, one and all.